So, it's nice to go on the road, but it's nice to be back home. Here at, the original Montreal Oasis. But I like this road trip that we do, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it is.
And it's good for the people that we visit too, you know? I
Yeah.
think they get it. Oh, by the way, I've got dishes, or, you know, containers
Oh, from last week?
from, yeah, she
Okay.
gave me some prasadam to take.
Yeah.
And I always like to give people their containers back to encourage them to fill them up. You know, if you don't give them their containers back, the next time you're around, they may think, well, I could give him something, but how many containers can I spare? I don't know, give them back. As a matter of fact, if the prasadam is really good, you give them back their containers and a couple more. Whatever you can get up, you know. You know, get some from the next door neighbor, give them to them too, so. We are gonna talk. We're gonna talk about changing the world. Boy, the world's kind of a crummy place right now, isn't it? I can't help it. I have to look at the news every so often. I'm just, you know, I don't want to, but I'm kind of curious. What the heck is the latest? You know, we've got, it's like most of the countries in the world are pointing their guns at each other, you know, and missiles. And people are getting hurt where it counts, and that's in the pocketbook. Countries and individuals, they're suffering financially. And so there's so many complaints. I don't like this one, I don't like that one, I don't like that country. So the world is in kind of an uproar. So how do we change the world? So what did Gandhi say? Be the change that you want to see in the world. So some people may say, well, but you know, if I change, how is that going to influence Putin or the guys in Iran? I don't know any of their names. I don't think, you know, they get new guys and then we kill them, and they get new guys and we kill them. So, you know, I don't know how, you know, are different people in the world. You know, what's the guy in China? Xi, you know. Can I change this guy just by changing myself? It's like I was thinking, you know, they were talking, the president and of United States and the president of China, and it's kind of like he said and she said. Oh, this is going to be a tough room. I can. Don't forget to tip your waiter. Wow.
It took a while to get that one.
Is there a bell? Somebody ring the bell to wake everybody. No. I thought that was good. You know. So it's good to be your own best fan. So, you know, I don't have to be funny. I think it's funny. It's like the comedian Joan Rivers. You remember? You're not too old or too young to remember.
Joan Rivers, right?
Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
I remember her. One of her things is that when she would do her stand-up comedy, she would be cracking up at herself. She would say something, and it would be really funny. Everybody, and she'd be like, so, you know, so. But I mean, then Rodney Dangerfield, you never saw him laugh. He was funny as heck, but you never saw him crack a smile. You know, so. Anyway, moving right along, let's get away from the humor, because that's not where we need to go right now. So, anybody got any jokes like they'd like to share? You
Jokes
see,
that were-
he and she, never mind.
She and she.
Finally got it.
See, once you get it, it's funny. I mean, it's not that funny, but it's about as good as you're gonna get. See, if you're waiting for the real funny stuff, you're gonna be here a long time. So, change your world. Well, you can't, but you can. You can have an influence. What is that going to Manava? There's something about, when a butterfly moves his wings in South America, it has an effect in China, or what's that? How do you explain that? How does that?
The butterfly effect, yeah.
Yeah,
Essentially, when something like that happens and that sets off other things and they go into motion and then ultimately that has an
kind of like a domino.
Yeah, like a
kind of
domino
thing,
effect.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's what Gandhi meant. You be the change. So you start the domino effect. So, and you have to change your world by changing your inner world. What goes on between this ear and this ear? A couple of other things that we have to consider. I'm gonna have to get another one.
Are these fans okay for you?
I just found out,
He's okay.
oh, that's okay. I just realized that Fisherman's Friend, you heard of Fisherman's Friend?
Yeah.
Well, they're only friends if you're fishermen. They used to be good to me. There's throat lozenges, but I think they do more harm than good now. I get dry throat really easily, so. But I mean, we're in Arizona, so I guess I'm not the only guy in the room that gets that. Excuse me. And no, I didn't bring one for everybody. Did the teacher ever ask you that when you were in school? What's that in your mouth? Go on. Did you bring enough for everybody?
Yeah, I've heard that one.
So, we have to change our inner world. And so, that requires some austerity to change our inner world. But Krishna tells us how to do it if we just listen. So making a change in ourselves always requires an austerity. What is an austerity? That's kind of a yucky word, isn't it? We don't really like it so much.
Doing without something you want,
Yeah,
is that it?
doing something that you may not want to do,
A sacrifice?
yeah. You'll sacrifice it for something better, a good outcome. So I don't want to do that, but it's the best thing to do, so I will do it. I want the outcome, so I'll do it. It's like studying for a test when you're in school. I don't want to do it, I'd rather go party. But for my better good, I'll go ahead and I'll do it. So, changing ourselves always requires an austerity to make the change happen. To change our inner world, it requires austerity of the body, of speech, and of mind. Krishna tells us this is what you need. By the way, stop me at any time with comments, questions, or a good joke if you have a. I'm not doing so good so far.
Still don't get the last one. All right. He said, she said?
President Xi.
That's the name of it.
Oh, that's the name of the president.
you know.
Oh, got it.
We can't take the intoxicant coffee here, so sometimes it takes us a while,
Yeah,
Time for our brain.
yeah. Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, 14th verse. Krishna describes the austerities of the body. And we can think of several, but let's get Krishna's take on it. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord. The Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. So, also we can think of others, getting up early in the morning, chanting the rounds, It's kind of an austerity in the beginning anyway, to eat properly. When you suddenly connect the dots and you realize for my particular body, at this particular time in my life, I need to eat like this. But I want all that other stuff, but I'm gonna sacrifice that. And then what happens is this new way becomes the way. It becomes normal. It's like when I cut back on sweets. Actually, I don't really eat any sweets. I use monk fruit for some sweetener, but I rarely use it. I've lost my taste for it. And now, like it used to be when I would go to Mayapur, one of the first things I would do is head for the sweet shops. Go to the best sweets in the world, all over India. Nepal's probably the same. And so, oh man, I would eat them like crazy. Remember, we would come to the house at night. We'd all have like all kinds of Mysore puck and everything, all kinds of stuff. We'd just be cramming in it right up to bedtime, eat. So now I can have like one little sweet, and it's like, wow, that is so good, but man, is that sweet. It's so sweet that it almost doesn't taste good. I mean, it does, but it's just like, doesn't fit. So that austerity kind of, it really isn't an austerity anymore. It's almost an austerity to eat sweets. I still do it once in a while. But I'm pretty careful, because I don't like the backlash. So, worship of the Supreme Lord. Krishna says, that's an austerity of the body. I would think it would be more of the mind, but Krishna says it's an austerity of the bodies. So respect to, Prabhupada says one should offer or learn to offer respect to God or the demigods, the perfect qualified Brahmins and the spiritual master, and superiors like father, mother, or any person who is conversant in the Vedic knowledge. Well, anybody who is conversant in Vedic knowledge, Prabhupada says that you should give your worship. You see, and I mean, we do that. Where our philosophy and our custom in our ISKCON especially, but in the Vaishnava world in general, is that we call everyone Prabhu. The men, the women, we call mother. Now, some people say, well, don't you call the women Prabhu? First of all, I don't know which one is first. Well, first of all, mother is a higher position than Prabhu. When you call someone mother, you look at them as your mother, you're giving them permission to smack you if you get out of line. You know how your mom says, don't make me smack you. Women have the right to do that. You see them as your mother. So, and secondly, Prabhu is a masculine term. It's like Mr. Betty. That doesn't work, although some people may prefer that. Maybe it does work today. I'm not up to I can't keep up with the things that are changing, So, we see everyone is Prabhu or mother. We refer to the Prabhus and the Matajis. So, that's giving respect. Worship. We look at everyone We worship, Krishna worships the Brahmins. So this is our culture. This is the way we do things. We should see like that. Is it an austerity? In the beginning, after a while, it's just the way we live. We give respect to everyone. So this is an austerity of the body, according to Krishna and Prabhupada. One should practice cleansing oneself externally and internally. And he should learn to become simple in behavior. Hare Krishna. Simple in behavior. You know? Sometimes just being simple. And I don't mean, some people use that term meaning you're stupid. I'm talking simple. Unpretentious. Sometimes when you get around a person like that, it's pleasant, isn't it? They're not like all in your face with, hey, look at this, and hey, check this out. You know, simplistic people can be very pleasant to be with. Whereas people who are not so simple can be kind of a challenge to deal with sometimes. They can also be very entertaining to observe. So, he should not do anything which is not sanctioned by the scriptural injunctions. We follow Krishna's words. We follow the scriptures. That's an austerity. We don't want to do that. My nature is a fallen conditioned soul. I want to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and where I want to do it. That's me. So, especially in America. Americans kind of have that, thing. You don't see it so much in other parts of the world. Maybe, it's a little less in Europe. It's even less when you get into Russia. Far less when you get into India. People aren't like, hey, look at me kind of thing, So, and Prabhupada mentions here that one should not indulge in sex life outside of married life. For sex is sanctioned in the scripture only in marriage, not otherwise. This is called celibacy. People don't like to hear that word sometimes, but it doesn't mean for the grihasta. It doesn't mean never, ever having sex. So Krishna goes on. Is there any discussion before I go into I've got 3 verses I'm going to read. Anybody have any questions or comments before I move on? Hi, what's your name?
My name is Veerchandra.
Huh?
Veerchandra Das. Veerachandra Das.
Veerachandra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't hear very well, Veerachandra. Welcome.
Nice to meet
Where are you from?
I'm from Tucson. I just don't live here anymore.
Ah, where do you live?
On the road. I just was in Japan a few days ago, and before that I was in Vietnam and Taiwan.
Ah,
Yeah, I travel a lot.
I used to as well, but not as much anymore. Welcome. How long will you be in Tucson?
Depends on work, but I hope for at least tomorrow Sunday program at Govinda's. That's
Well,
my
me too.
hope. So
Who is your Guru Maharaj?
Govinda Maharaj.
Ah, wonderful. Welcome. Okay, Krishna continues. Now he's going to talk about what are the austerities of speech. I think a lot of us know where Krishna's going with this. Austerity of speech. This is 17, chapter 15th verse. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Wow, Krishna said a mouthful, didn't he? That's saying a lot because he's got the whole universe in his mouth. Austerity of speech, speaking words that are truthful. That's one of the 4 pillars of spiritual life, truthfulness. So, it's one of those things that a lot of people will feel like, well, yeah, I can be truthful. I am truthful, except when I'm not. You know? Just like recently, I bought a car, and I was expecting the guys to tell me all these different things like that. It wasn't an experience like it was much better than I thought it was gonna be, but, you know, a lot of times when you're buying something, it's like the guy in India, you say, how much is that? And he says, for you, I'll make no profit. Oh boy, here we go. How many times do we hear that, huh?
They're making profit.
500 rupees. I'll give you 2. No. All right, then I'm walking. Okay, 3. You know. When you're dealing with those guys, isn't it the best thing to do is to say, first of all, I always tell people when they first go to Mayapur or Brindavan, things that you're going to think, oh, I've just got to have that. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? I've got to have that. Don't let them know that you feel that way. You got to look at it like, you look at something like, what is this? You know, in your mind, you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to have this. Yeah. How much, But if you're like, oh boy, where did you get that? Well, the price just went way up. And you'll never get them down to the right price because they know you want it.
Yeah.
You know? So you have to be kind of unattached. Yeah, Tamalavi?
It made me think of how expert Prabhupada was at that. Is it the London Ishvara deities that he goes to that guy's house and the guy's expecting to like start to barter, and Prabhupada talks about everything except the deities in the room, right? And then gets up like he's gonna go, like he's not interested at all. And then ends up
Perfect
walking out the door
example.
with the deities, yeah.
He went there, as soon as he saw those deities, he wanted those deities so badly. But he talked about this, he talked about that, and then, oh, well, gee whiz, look at the time. And the guy was like, what, don't you want these deities? Do you want me to take the deities? The guy thought he was gonna offer money or say how much. You want me to take these deities? Yes. Okay, can you pick up that one? Can you pick up her? Okay, let's go. But, Swamiji. Then they put him in the back of the van and drove like a block and a half.
And stopped, yeah.
And stopped, and Prabhupada got out and paid his obeisances and just wept. Krishna has come to London, you can see this is Krishna's setup, Krishna's pastimes with his pure devotee. So, all right. Speaking words that are truthful and pleasing. So, the devotee always says things that are pleasing. Now, I learned in marketing 100 years ago, when I got into marketing, seems like it was that long ago, that you can say anything to anybody if you say it in the right way. Just like sometimes you've got a world, especially in America, where the customer is always right, but they're not. So sometimes in business, you've got to tell your client when they're wrong. But you have to be expert in how you say that. So sometimes we have to tell people some difficult things because we want them to change their lives. We want them to change their inner world. Because the trajectory that they're on right now is not very favorable for them. So you want to help them. They need to become devotees of Krishna. They need to learn to love God. Those souls will never be happy until they learn to love God. So, guess who? It's your duty. You're there. It's actually great violence. Prabhupada said it's the greatest violence. If you can give someone Krishna consciousness and you choose not to, that's the greatest violence. oh, but gee whiz, I don't want to embarrass myself, but all right. So then, but we should do it anyway. And sometimes Prabhupada was a little, even, not so pleasant in what he would say, because he needed to move these souls to a higher consciousness. He had to. It's like he was arguing, I remember this one time he was arguing with this fellow, I think it might have been in London, come to think of it. Anyway, an impersonalist fellow. And the impersonalists can be really persnickety, you know, they can be kind of hard to deal with sometimes. And Prabhupada put forth the personal aspect, the personal philosophy of the Supreme. And he proved it in such a way that you really couldn't argue. And the guy looked at Prabhupada and said, well, what if I still don't? That was a good argument, Swami, but what if I still don't accept? And Prabhupada said, then I kick you in the face with boots. That was, you know, I always thought that was so cute. I'll kick you in the face with boots. I'll put on boots and I'll kick you. Now, you know, can you imagine Prabhupada kicking somebody in the face? But he was saying, no, I want to get your attention. This is serious here. We're not just playing mind games. Gee whiz, I think it's this. You know, I don't want to be embarrassed by letting this old man tell me something. I don't want to learn from you. So sometimes we have to be a little more pushy, you see? So, but we always want to remain truthful. I found that looking back over the good old days, whenever you're a little bit forceful to convince someone, typically it works out very well. Maybe not that moment. Maybe they don't like it. But later on, they come around. And when they come around, boy, they're sold. They become really good devotees. So, I remember Tamal Krishna Maharaj was telling, we were talking about that one. He was telling me, anyway, it was in Houston years ago, and we were preaching to these guys. And he went a little bit, as I say, a little TKG on them, you know? A little heavy, you know? So anyway, the guys were like, they didn't even stay for prasadam. And so actually they were big time dope dealers, I mean, big time, from Chicago. And they were doing a deal in Houston, and they liked hanging with the devotees, so they wound up with the devotees. And so I told him after that, I said, I don't think that went really well. He said, they'll be back. They'll be back. Next time, they'll be back, I guarantee you. So then, you know, a couple of months go by, and I found myself, when we went from Dallas, you know, down to Houston, we usually went together. Gave us time to kind of talk. And so, anyway, we got down to Houston, and he's giving the class, and I looked, and there's those two guys. I'm thinking, wow, he's right, they came back. And so they went over and whispered in his ear just before he got started, you know, and he said, yeah, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Give it to him. And he pointed to me. And so the guy gave me this package. And as I looked, I'm thinking, well, what is this? Then I saw the shape of it, and I thought, this is a stack of money. It's wrapped in like brown paper. It's a stack of money. It was $10,000. And so I took it, and I thought, well, I better go do something with it, you know, so I went in my room. So later on, I hid it in the best place, perfect place, right? So later on, he said, did you put that Lakshmi in a safe place? And I said, oh yeah, man, really. I was so proud because I thought, I put it in my sock. in my suitcase. Who's gonna look in a sock, you know? So he said, you put it in the safe? I said, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm Mr. Smart. And he looked and he said, wait a minute. Where did you put it? It's really genius. I put it in my sock, in my suitcase. In your sock, you idiot! You put Lakshmi Devi in your sock? Go take it out right now. You know, he was just pulling me away. I'm thinking, it was stupid, wasn't it? You know, well, you can't help it. I'm mentally challenged. You know? So, not agitating to others except when we want to get them out of Maya. Are you willing to agitate someone to get them to think? Or do you want them to just think nicely of you as they slide closer and closer to the hellish situation? You see? We may not want to agitate others. So if we see people with respect, if we treat them as, one thing we learned in business, that you never talk down to anybody. And it's best to not even talk, and it's just a really close friend, not even talk as an equal. Talk with respect, to ever talk up to everyone. Everyone likes that. So that's Vaishnava etiquette. We talk up to everyone. It even works on Muslim Toto drivers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just from talking up and showing respect is, well, more than one, but one especially, Ali, you know, we became part of his family. I mean, he invited Nitai and myself to his home, fed us nice fruits and sweets, you know. I mean, he's just like, we're like best friends, you know. The last time I saw him in Mayapur, he said, so, when will you return? I said, oh, I'll be back. This was February. I said, oh, I'll be back in September. And he said, okay. His voice trembling, cried. I'm thinking, wow, how is this? You know, this isn't supposed to work this way. But I always treated him like, you know, someone, not an equal. I never talked down to him. Respect, you know. Offered gifts to he had a new baby. Remember when they came over to the apartment and they had the new baby? The whole family came, you know, brought his whole family. His wife came, and his mother
I think so.
and her sister. Yeah, anyway, and they're all, this was a big thing to them. They were dressed in their best silk saris just to come because I had a gift for the newborn daughter. But this was huge to them. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, this treating of respect and dealing in love really is magical stuff, you see. Because he's not, you know, generally these guys are not the nicest guys that you're going to run across. You know, you've dealt with the Toto drivers in Mayapur, the rickshaw wallahs. You know, they're not usually very, you know. So, yeah, you met Ali, didn't you? You know him.
Briefly.
Yeah. So, anyway, this thing works. Krishna is speaking truthfully. And of course, we all will also want to regularly chant Vedic literature. We like it. We like to say, Shastra says, Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita. We like that. It's just fun to talk about, to repeat Krishna's words. Prabhupada says in a purport, one should not talk nonsense. Well, that's tough, isn't it? Because that means you can't talk about anything in the world, because it's all nonsense. This whole thing that's going on here is nonsense. This whole thing shouldn't be here. This cosmic manifestation should not exist. It's existing temporarily, but there's no need for it. It's a place of suffering and ignorance. What is that Saudi Rao video? This material world is a place of suffering and ignorance. We don't know. We're ignorant. But when we're born, we don't even know how to speak or walk, or we don't know the language, or we don't know anything. You see? And suffering. What's the first thing the baby does typically when they come out of the womb is, "Ah," you know? And they don't ever stop. They stop for a little while, but then they're always, "Oh, I want, I want, I want." All of their lives, the rest of your life, you're gonna want. And your desires are gonna feel like needs. She's got a teenager, look up, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Life, what can be done? So, it's a place of suffering and ignorance. So, it's all nonsense. This place is only here for us to come and try to get away from Krishna. Even though everything is Krishna. This is all Krishna's energy. And we're here to kind of be our own thing and to do our own thing, be all we can be, and be the proprietor of something that we don't have any right to have, think that is ours, or that we own. What can we own? You see, what did you bring with you when you came here? Same thing you're going to take with you when you leave. So you can grab it and hold it and manipulate it until you leave this world. And then what happens? People go to court and they sue each other over what you left behind. They want to take false possession of it. They want to be the proprietor. I mean, this doesn't happen every time, but a lot of times. So, any discussion? It's a quiet group tonight.
Deep in thought, clearly.
Huh?
You got us deep in thought.
Yeah, Tulgo Vinda.
Oh, no, I didn't have a
Huh?
I didn't have a question.
Hey, that counts. When you do this with your glasses, that you gotta ask.
Oh, Ali was my driver too.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
Krishna
remember what
Jivani.
Small Krishna said to those guys from Chicago?
Say
To be-
what?
Do you remember what Small Krishna said to those guys from Chicago to be heavy with them? Like, or what's an example, like, how heavy could it get to actually have an
Oh, just,
influence on somebody, you know?
he could do things, I mean, he was, a lot of people knew him, or a nickname that he had that nobody called him to his face, but was Hot Tamale. They're probably gonna call you that someday.
Yeah.
This is Hot Tamale. Hot Tamal Hari. So, well, he could get a little heavy. When he was driving his point, when he wanted to save somebody, he didn't think, oh my gosh, I don't want you to not like me. He's thinking, I want to offer this to Prabhupada. I want to make you a devotee of Krishna as an offering to my guru. And so he was kind of giving him a little bit of pressure about surrendering to Krishna. And he's talking about, and he knew these guys were big time dealers. I mean, $10,000 was pocket change to them, really. They later gave considerably more. But he was talking about surrendering to Krishna, and he looked at them, and he said, "But you don't want to surrender to Krishna, do you?" Well, what do you think? Well, yeah, you think you should surrender to Krishna, or do you think you shouldn't surrender to Krishna? Everyone else should, but you don't have to? Well, Are you convinced about the Vedic, the Vedas? You know, are you convinced of the scripture, what Krishna is saying here? Well, I think that maybe, stop! You're speculating. I think, but maybe. Don't you know the truth? Well, then why don't you listen to the truth? Why don't you surrender to the truth? He could do that, you know. And he would be real happy, then he would lighten up a little bit, you know, let him breathe and then come back again. I can remember sitting up all night long on the bus. You know, when there'd be some interested folks that would come, somebody would see, he would say, hey, those guys they were asking nice questions. Ask them if they'd like to come have darshan with me on the Radha Damodar bus, you know. So he would be there, Vishnu John Swami would be there. He would stay, sometimes he would stay up all night long, convincing, getting heavy, but then backing up. Then heavy, backing up, you know. And so I remember one morning, we were there, I was, you know, looking at him going back and forth, he's arguing, he's making someone a devotee. And the Pujari, Ramacharya was his name. He stepped out of the curtain to blow the conch for Mangalarti. And of course, they're not, you know, he's gonna have it behind the curtain, but he didn't blow the conch inside the curtain, he stepped out. And he blew it like, ooh, ooh, ooh. You hear him ringing the bell and doing it. So it's like, it's 4:30, you know, we've been here all night. And so, you know, he said, so do you think you'll ever surrender to Krishna? Will you ever? Yes. Do you think it's the right thing for you to do? Yes, I do. So you think it's the right thing and you will do it someday? Yes. Then why not right now? Why walk out that door? You found God. God's behind that curtain. What if you die on the way home? You're going to do it later. You're going to do it later. That's what you've been saying for how many births? You know, well, I don't know, gee whiz. All right, you know, let me go get my stuff. You don't need any stuff. You know, we've got some clothes for you. Oh, can I bring my dog? No, can't bring your dog. What about my girl? No, you can't bring no. So we're gonna leave after lunch, you know. So you're gonna go? Yeah, I'm gonna join. But he could do it. But he wasn't concerned about how he may look or how he may appear. He was concerned about that living entity going back to Godhead, and he was dedicated. And that's the way he rocked. You know, a lot of those people in the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party, he made personally, just like that. So, those were, and these are, the good old days. All right, so austerities of the mind. Krishna says, and satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are austerities of the mind. What does he mean by that? Satisfaction. How is that an austerity? Because it's so hard to do. It's so hard to be satisfied. It's the greatest austerity in the material world, to be satisfied. For very long, I mean, we get something and we're satisfied. Like you get a new iPhone. What's the number now? I can't keep, what's the latest number? 20 or?
17.
Huh?
17.
17. So you get, you know, you've got an iPhone 17, or 16. It works fine. But then this guy shows up and he's got a 17.
No, I have a 13.
Wah, wah. Smart guy. Yeah, I keep my phones until they fall apart. I drive cars until they're. So, yeah, I mean, this is great, I love this phone, but then all of a sudden, there's a new one. And they say it takes better pictures. I mean, the phones we have nowadays are the cameras are the best that we've ever had in the history of the world. People used to spend hundreds of dollars for these, these cameras that had the big cameras, and they didn't take as good of pictures as just the regular phone now. But this one has a better camera. I need one. I'm not thinking about wanting, I need it. I was satisfied when I had it. I was satisfied for a long time. I'd be showing people, oh, look at my phone, mine's a 16, And then the darn guys come out with a 17, and now I'm not satisfied anymore. So, they do that with fashion, Fashion's not that big a thing in India, but in the Western world, it is. They change it all the time. I remember I was in management at ISKCON for several years. And then it was time for my family to grow. And so I was temple president in Dallas at the time. But we wanted to establish this independent Grihasta community where the Grihastas would work, would be independent. Financially independent, spiritually dependent was the saying. And so I was gonna go out and get another job. It had been a long time since I had a job. So gee whiz, I'm gonna have to get some suits. And so I went down to try on suits. I hadn't been shopping for clothes in I don't know how long, many years. And I was looking at the difference, I thought, well, at that time, pleated pants were real popular, kind of like they were back in the, Humphrey Bogart wore suits like that with pleats in the front, I always thought those were cool. But then you didn't see that, nobody wore that. And then I'm looking, and that's all they had. And I asked the guy, don't you have any regulars? Well, this is what it is now, Okay, so I remember back in the 70s how the ties got really wide, and the lapels on the jackets were getting wider. Back in the 60s, you can remember Rod Serling, he would be wearing that little skinny tie, and skinny thin lapel. They do this to get you to be unsatisfied with your wardrobe, and you'll come and give them your money. It doesn't mean that your wardrobe has got holes in it and it's threadbare and you need to throw it away. No, it's just not cool anymore. So Krishna's saying satisfaction, it's an austerity. Yeah.
How much of a choice is being satisfied? Like, is that a result of our conditioning, or can we actively, consciously choose to be satisfied in any situation?
You've got to have, we have to build automatic defaults. Like in computers, they do this, and our minds work the same way. Gratitude should always be our attitude. Look at the world that we have. Our world is devotees. Why, everything we have. When you look at your cloth, when you're ironing and or taking it out, hanging it up to dry, whatever, you should be grateful. I get to wear this. I'm grateful that I have you. So, whenever there's some dissatisfaction, immediately look at that world that you're grateful for. And just say, yeah, but. Things are really great. My life is really great because I found Srila Prabhupada, I found the devotees, you see, I found Krishna consciousness, I found the Maha Mantra. So that outweighs so much of, I'm deprived of this, deprived of that. So you build in a default, you immediately have to go there and think, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What's that? The plane is delayed another 3 hours? Okay. I get to chant my rounds before. I'm gonna chant tomorrow's rounds today. Can you do that? You can when you're in all these different time zones, like when you're on your way to India. It's kind of fun when you travel, you know. Could be Ekadashi, but you think, well, it's Ekadashi in Mayapur. I'm somewhere over the North Pole right now. Maybe it'll be Ekadashi when I get to the United States.
You can have 2 Ekadashis.
Yeah, we'll do 2. You know? So immediately you can always think there's an advantage. Being a devotee is so full of advantages that you can always find one to grab hold of when the world is handing you a disadvantage. You see? As you know, your plane was late getting out of San Francisco, and you get into Doha. Well, we've lived this. You get into Doha, and you missed your connecting flight to go to Calcutta, and there isn't one until tomorrow evening. Well, that's not what I wanted. Yes, but Qatar Airlines is going to put you up in a 4-star hotel. Oh, that's pretty good. I can do that, you know. Tell the Calcutta devotees, hey, don't show up. I'll be there. Same flight, same everything, but a day later. Meanwhile, we're gonna party in Doha. We're gonna do what devotees do everywhere. So it actually worked out really good, didn't it? But I remember at the airport when I got there and we realized, we missed that flight. My first reaction was, I'm tired. I just got off a 16-hour flight, you know, and I've got 5 hours to go to Calcutta. I'm not ready for this. But, yeah, breaking my journey here in Doha, that's pretty cool, you know. So it was one of those things that happened a couple of times, and when it happened the first time, I thought, maybe this isn't a bad idea. Maybe it's not a disadvantage. It might be actually a cool idea to go from San Francisco to Doha, spend the night, there's devotees there, and then go on. It won't cost anything. You know, maybe you have to go for a hotel, but I mean, Doha's kind of a cool place, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a manufactured country. What'd that guy say? There's less than 300,000 people in Doha. It's not as big as Tucson, but yet it's got this oil money, and it looks like a gigantic big thing going on, you know, and everybody's friendly. So simplicity, be simple. Don't try to be extravagant. Be simplistic. People will be comfortable around you if you're simplistic, to the degree that you can. Gravity, be grave. And that doesn't mean be definition of grave, Prabhupada uses this translation into gravity doesn't mean that you be nasty and, you know, no. To be grave means to think of Krishna. Don't deal in nonsense. Gravity. Gravity of speech is to chant Hare Krishna or quote the Shastra. Or talk about life as it relates to the scripture. You may not tell everybody that you meet, well, my scripture says this. I remember when I was in business, sometimes we would have to make some decisions. You know, I'd be in a boardroom And they're kind of looking over at me like, you know, help us make a decision, a big decision we've got to make. And I would think of something that I read in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says this. Well, I can't just lay that out. Well, Krishna says, well, that's a real bummer. They're not going to like that. But look at him, I would say, well, it's written somewhere. And I would quote Krishna. And they would say, oh, wow, that's amazing. And when I needed to quote Srila Prabhupada, I would say, a great man once said, and I would quote Prabhupada. 100% of the time, people go, wow. They're stunned by Krishna's words, by Prabhupada's words. Prabhupada's words are Krishna's words. You see? I mean, 100% of the time, people would say, wow. Just blows their mind. You're giving them the absolute truth without telling them, this is my religion and this is what I believe. It's the absolute truth. It doesn't matter whether I believe it or not, it's still the absolute truth. This is the absolute truth. But I can't say it like that. But that's gravity. I'm speaking knowledge that I've learned from Guru and Krishna and the assembled Vaishnavas. So that's gravity. Don't get caught up in gossip. What a dirty thing. Gossip is really nasty. So, I got 2 minutes, right? All right. We have time for a question or two? I'll finish this real quick and then we'll move right into it. You gotta admit, I'm getting better. I got 2 minutes.
I'm not as strict as Radhachandra.
Huh?
I'm
I
not
know.
as strict as Radhachandra.
And that's one of the things that I'm grateful for. Why is it so much fun to pick on Radha Sundari? I don't know. Just, you like that? I remember that people used to put a sign on people's back that, as they're going down the hall in school, kick me. Go down the hall, people kick on me. There's always certain people, usually girls, that you wanted to pick on. Purifications of one's existence, along with self-control. This is purification of one's, or austerities of the mind. Purification of your existence. Wow, we're all doing that. That should not be an austerity, should it? Purifying your existence. That's austere? Only in the beginning. It's like people who become vegetarian or vegan. In the beginning, it might be big austerity because you're used to eating this way. But then it's an austerity. You got to remind yourself, and you look at something, like if you had a liking for some meat dish or something that your mother always fixed, and you look at it, and in the beginning it's a little bit of austerity. No, I don't do that anymore. But then it flips around. Why, after you've been a vegetarian for a while, how much of an austerity would it be to eat meat? Really hellish, wouldn't it? So in the beginning, the austerity seems to be real heavy, hard to do. But give it some time, and it'll turn around. So, any questions or discussion? Yeah, Tamal Hari.
Can you speak about balancing gravity with levity? It seems like Krishna also has a quality of being playful, and he teases, and there's a kind of joyful laughter. So I was going to start with, how do those two fit, the quality of gravity and
Well, the common definition of gravity doesn't seem to blend well with levity, humor, because we think of someone, you know, Puritan. I don't know if the Puritans were really that way, but our image of the Puritans was like no fun, no smiling, nothing like that. But you can be grave, but we should always be happy. I mean, if you're gonna deal with Krishna, if you don't have a sense of humor, you better go get one. Or else it's, but we do. We're part and parcel of Krishna, and he's the most humorous. I mean, we just look at his behavior. You know, is Krishna grave? Yeah, he's the supreme grave. So he's also the supreme humorist. So they mix together. It's like that. What was that Mary Poppins film? They were singing. My kids used to. I remember they would sing that. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. You know. So when you're in business or in preaching or in counseling or just living your life, mixing in some humor makes everything a little sweeter. Makes things work better. It's like lubrication to a car. A car doesn't work very well without it. But you'll find if you go someplace, I mean, I don't know if I try, I'm just so used to doing it after all these years that no matter where I go, when I go to Walmart or someplace or Sprouts, you know, shopping, I almost always get somebody to laugh. It's just fun to get somebody to laugh. Loosens them up. And if you do that, you kind of make their day. Nobody else that day did that. And in a moment like that, it's a good time to slip them a book. You know, it's a really good time. Say, check it out.
Could you say gravity is serious? Serious would be close to it. It's like it bothers me when especially talking to a devotee, and they want to talk about the game last night, or they want to talk about what they ate. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about serious stuff.
Yeah.
So gravity.
Well, serious stuff.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean like talking about, you know, the president's meeting in China? Let's get serious here. See? No. Serious. What are we here? What are we here for? I mean, here in this room, we're here to advance spiritually. This is serious stuff. Because if I don't advance spiritually, I'm gonna die. That's guaranteed. And if I'm not really, really careful, I'm gonna take another birth, and I don't want to do that. Unless I'm ordered to, you know. If Krishna said, Hamsa Balaram, I'm so glad to have you back home. But don't unpack. Because, you know, all those years in the ministry and being a devotee, that was just basic training, buddy. I want you to go back and get some more. It would make me very happy if you would. You're going to say, sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I take some prasadam before I go? So, no, we want to escape. This is serious. It's a very dangerous position that we're in, you see. Because it's like Prabhupada would say when he was preaching to people, destination unknown. You have no idea where you're going, what to expect next. Don't just make it from here to death. What about after that? We should be thinking like that. So that's serious. And this seriousness is also very wonderful conversation. It gives us pleasure to talk about something serious like, what about the game? Who cares? I remember when I was in business, you know, I was in Dallas. What's the most popular sports in Dallas. Football, Dallas Cowboys, America's team. So, I don't know anything about sports. So I'd be calling on some guy and he'd look at me and say, hey, what'd you think of the game last night? Gee whiz, you know, I can't say, I don't care about that crap. So I learned early on, I would say, wasn't that amazing? I don't know if he's talking football, baseball. I mean, they had the Rangers there. They have hockey. I guess they have it all. They have basketball and Dallas, surely they do.
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, okay, so they got it all.
Yeah.
So I'd say, you know, I don't know what the guy's talking about. Isn't that amazing? Did you see that play that Aikman, when he, I couldn't believe it. Let him talk until he's finished. You know, and then casually change to something else. So, but you know, you probably would feel uncomfortable when you're talking with a devotee and they're talking about, is there professional baseball here in Tucson?
No,
Who is it?
there's not.
There's not?
There used to be a minor league team,
A
but
minor league, yeah. That's
but they're not here anymore.
right.
Professional something?
Yeah,
No.
basketball, Phoenix Suns.
Oh, you mean in Tucson?
In Tucson.
Oh, in Tucson.
No.
So I guess, you know, devotees could be talking about maybe the
Wildcats.
Wildcats, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they want to, it's kind of uncomfortable to say, look, I don't want to talk about that. You know, yuck. I don't care. So you've got it in a very nice way, maybe humorously, get them to change the subject as gracefully as you can. You know, I know what you're talking about. It brings back such rotten memories of people wanting to talk about sports, you know. Everywhere I went, everywhere, even I covered a lot. So I'd be in Denver, and they'd be to talk about, I'm thinking, I don't even know, I don't know who's here, you know. And here I say the same thing. Yeah, wasn't that amazing? Yeah.
I was just thinking, when I think of gravity, I think of just having a sense of clarity, having a sense of a center or an anchor. So no matter where the conversation or your mind or the day goes, you always have a center. You can always come back to that. So having clarity.
The material energy is always going to try to pull you off of your clarity. That's the game. That's Maya's game. Pull you off of real clarity.
Yeah, if you think about the word gravity, I mean, gravity does what? It pulls you down, so it's like being grounded in something.
Keeps your feet on the ground,
Yeah,
you know, rather than
right.
going up into the sports atmosphere, whatever, you know. Okay. Only 10 minutes over. All right. Thank you all so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Who's gonna sing? You wanna sing?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
You?
We have so many Kirtaneros in this community. I could listen to them all.